watched a lovely film, Busman's Honeymoon, from 1940 in glorious black and white. It's a bit of an oddball because it's actually the last in a series of books, but it's the first film ever made of this series of books. So that's kind of weird. It's not last, but it is an endpoint kind of thing. And I think it's because the thing was actually made into a play by the original author. A play 2 years earlier, and then made straight into for the screen. Made by the author is Dorothy L Sayers, who is famous for Lord Peter Wimsey mysteries. This is a Lord Peter Wimsey mystery, of course.
Yeah, the book is from 1937, which is probably the reason why they chose this one, because it might have been the last one to come out or the latest one to come out, for them to just grab it and go, okay, it's grand success, we're making a movie.
And play, she wrote the play. So one of the complaints that people have if you have like a book adaptation, you should get the author in. Guess what? They got the author in. She wrote a lovely play, which is a play meant for the stage. So it has certain concessions that she first had to make for the stage. And now it's transformed to film, which is in 1940 age, very normal thing to do. They did a lot of things, just take it off the stage and plonk it on film. So they're very, very adept at it. But some of the things that she took out to put it on the stage, she would not have put back in because it's now a film.
Yeah, Robert Montgomery, he's a stage and film actor, and they felt that he was effective at creating a British accent. More.
I'm going to disagree on that, but that's our modern views.
Yes, we were not so impressed with that.
No, he's actually the actor himself. He's the only fully American actor in this British in this film, which was filmed in Britain. But I think what he usually does is a sort of more musical comedy. That's what the actor is known for. And I think maybe because A, he could put on a credible English accent, or to them credible, and B, they do think that Lord Peter has a certain whimsicalness about him. Definitely not just because of the name. So I think they were looking for a certain type, but also leading man type, because Robert Montgomery definitely leading man type. I mean, maybe in our point of view now is sort of saying not so much, but at the time, absolutely. And he's a big name, and you would like to have a big name in your movie. So I think he's the biggest name here. He is headlining. His name is before the title, so they also think he's the big name.
Yeah.
The lady is Constance Cummings, who is half American, half British.
Yeah, she had a 50-year-long career, so she was done. She did very well. Came from Seattle. Basically, you know, she's got the schooling, she's got the career. She started in 1926. Just kept on running. She was also in Blithe Spirit.
That's 5 years later than this. This is exactly. And she's wonderful. So here you have it: the play, the book by Dorothy L Sayers, and the play by herself and some help.
But some female help, so there's a lot of female names on this splash screen that you normally don't see that many female names.
Yeah, but that's for the play, and then for the screenplay, they got other people in. We don't know if Dorothy Sayers had anything to say about it, but having seen the movie, it looked like straight up the play. It's very playy. It has all the vibes that a play has, all the banter and the scene changes. They didn't change much, I think. So the very first scene starts with a lot of banter of them just having gotten married. But like I said, this is the last in of the a final book in a long series of them having a courtship, and they are now married. And promising each other that they should stop sleuthing around, being around murders. Basically, that's what they're promising each other here.
Yeah. They're constantly reinforcing that plan, and they're both happy with the plan.
Yeah.
However,
where walks in Inspector, not Parker, he has a different name, but Inspector friend of theirs, and we actually I noticed it more, and when we were watching it, we noticed it more in a later scene. But this guy should have played Wimsey. He's so much better.
Yeah.
He's got that, because Wimsey is not particularly meant to be handsome or anything like that.
In fact, he's supposed to have a silly face.
Yes.
He's not. Yeah, whether or not he's specifically supposed to be tall, I don't know if that's in the books. Most of the actors playing him are very tall, but he is tall enough. The man in the middle there. His name is Leslie James Banks, and he was an English stage and screen actor. He was also a director, a producer, and he was actually known to be play bad guys. So he was in black and white films.
That could have been possible here, except that it turns out there's a murder, going to be murder here, but the murder is. Unlike the other books, the murder is actually unrelated to either Lord Peter or Harriet. So Harriet on the right, lovely dress. One of the problems they had with this movie is because this is the time, 1940 is the time when you want to show off lovely dresses, especially because this has actually been filmed just after the start of the war, so they know they're at war, they're in England, and they want to show off wonderfulness. So showing off dresses is a thing that is in all movies. But the thing is, they're in this scene, they're in the house, and then they go to a very drafty cottage. So and they're outside. So you're wearing overcoats or you're wearing cardigans. So what are you going to show?
Yeah, and they are rich. Because he is a lord and he does have a great inheritance. He's not the first in the line. His older brother has the estate, but he still has a heap of money, and he doesn't throw it away. He just goes about his life, and this does look as spiff as this guy does. I have to say, the guy does look fantastic.
Yeah, other guy looks more the right way. But other than that, I really did enjoy him as Wimsey. He was wonderful. The accent is off, but that's our modern ears. And she is absolutely wonderful as Harriet Vane.
Yeah.
So she said something about a childhood house in her neighborhood that she always wanted to visit, something like that, and he hears it, and then he
that was our Bunter.
Yes, this is
Bunter is played by Seymour Hicks, who got a Sir in front of his name for his accomplishments. He's an actor, music, playwright, manager, and producer, so he's got a lot going for himself. He was great. He was awesome. He is just too old. The concept of your butler is an older man is just a mental concept, but that was not in the books. It's not in the plays. They are contemporaries of each other. Bunter will be a little bit younger than Lord Peter.
And that's about all. Served together in World War One. That's where he got Bunter from. He was the privates assigned to him to be his servant, and they had lots of adventures together. But it does mean he was younger. He was just a young guy in 1618, and so. But the thing is, this movie doesn't really acknowledge the fact that it's part of a series.
Yeah.
It's a standalone thing, and it does standalone things. And as such, this guy is a really great bunter for what he's supposed to be doing in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not the bunter in the book. Absolutely.
Yeah, the acting is great. He's just a generation too old.
Yeah. So Lord Peter, as a wedding present, buys the cottage, the wonderful cottage.
Yes, with the help of Bunter, and they just are very good at the stealthy shenanigans.
Yes, and then he has it prepped so they can go on a honeymoon there. Oh, they're about to get married. So this is the day of the wedding, the dress. This is 1940. Wedding dresses are not our taste. Like that. Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
What the other girl is wearing is better than this. Oh my God, that's bad. Anyway, he loves her, so
he looks great. He's all you have to do is put him in a proper suit and off you go.
Men's formal wear hasn't changed in a long time, and it just works. So no reason to. So they go after the wedding. They go to the honeymoon. He doesn't tell her until they actually get to the little town of Biddlecome. I think it said Biddlecome. And it is a stage. However, since this is England, they know what an English little village is supposed to look like. So it's as for being a stage thing, it's pretty spot on. A little houses, and this is the local people, local bad guy with the girl and the local doctor.
Yeah, he's a shady character. He is from the get-go. We can already hear that he's playing her, and she is just too dumb for the modern world. Quite frankly, she lets herself be played.
Yeah. The only problem with the part is I think the guy is too old. I think he should be at least 10 years younger.
Yeah. However, I can mind over matter that everybody looked older in those days, also on film. So
yeah, you have that.
If they look 35, they are 23.
Okay, so we'll call him 23. He's supposed to be a young man trying to start out, but it's not going very well, and he's taking it out on the only girl who hasn't run off on him.
Yeah, really. Dump him.
Yeah, the lawyer makes sure that the house is bought from this character, who has a cat, by the way. Cat doesn't have a big part. Promises that the house will be ready, and then picks a fight with the soon-to-be ex-housekeeper, because she walks out.
Yes.
And he picks a fight with that's the same girl as with the shady boy. And
yeah, alerting us to the thing that this is super shady guy. He has ulterior motives, what we don't know, and he is likely to run off with the money. He has basically
he's actually her uncle, and she entrusted some money with him for safekeeping, and she needs it back now because her shady man has asked for it, and he's
I think it wasn't safekeeping. I think he is literally her the responsible party for her because she is single.
Yeah, okay, but the relationship is uncle niece,
something like that. Yeah.
Familial relationship, and he has money that she should be able to ask for, but he's sort of welching on her. He's just sort of whinging and saying tomorrow. And
the thing with that is that if women can be their own person, have their own bank accounts, and manage their own money, whether they are married or not, from literally becoming an adult, then it's fine. But in those days, even well into the 50s and 60s, you had to be, I don't know, 27 or sometimes never. You just never got to be in charge of your own finance.
Exactly. Anyway, he tells her no, or he tells her tomorrow, and then she tells him no and tomorrow, and then he has roving eye for the only girl in the village that's going to wear a modern dress. They got one in. That girl wears a modern dress. She's actually the barmaid at the local inn. Church, very British. So the one girl is playing on the organ while her man is putting his hand around the barmaid.
Yeah, this goes quite far, and it doesn't stop either, which is a bit of a shame. But for the sake of a detective story, you probably have an amount of that. You need your characters to push the plot forward.
Yeah, and fast and visually, and so that's well done. Now, so this is a lovely view of English vicars. So the vicar is on for the people who don't know, the vicar is on the right, and I think because now my knowledge of almost of Church of England goes away. He's just a layman speaker who has prepared something to speak, or I think he was actually a singer. I'm gonna sing, but this is the vicar. So all the signs of proper propriety is there, but still hand on butt where it doesn't belong. That's the housekeeper that ran off. I think she's getting drunk. Barmaid again. Anyway, all of this takes place at the night before Harriet and Peter come in. This guy, this uncle guy, has a lot of foot traffic. So the uncle keeps meeting and pissing off people. Everybody knows everybody in this town, and then people eavesdropping, and oh my god, see more pissy offies. This the two very pissy office peoples together, and
we're again looking at a movie where it was actually recorded in the time that it's supposed to be set. So all of this is actually displaying the now of then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a 1937 book, 1939 play, and a 1940 film. So they are, if they're in this Bobby uniform, this is what the Bobbies were wearing. If the guy with the, you know, the not quite Peaky Blinders hat that's what they were wearing then.
Yeah. Here's Lord Peter and Harriet arriving with Bunter in the back.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night. One of the things I do like about this film is that they know how to make a film. This is a very, very usable film in all ways. Even though it was a stage play, they by having the Bobby stand outside the window and stuff like that, they make this interesting by driving around the car, driving around the village, here now and later, arriving at the place, being carried in, and then the housekeeper sitting outside. Yeah, they can't get in. They have to get the relative of the uncle. They don't know that that's an uncle. They have to get the niece to let them in, because the key is not where it's supposed to be. And then when they come in, it turns out that the place isn't ready. There was supposed to be supper. There was supposed to be stuff prepped, and it's not prepped. This actually looks like the guys. What is there looks like a lunch for one person and not a dinner for two
And
people.
he left in the middle of the meal.
He left in the middle of, and they realized that when they were looking at this setup, they sort of going, oh, this may have happened and that may have happened, and look, the way the butter is still being put on the bread, and oh, we can tell that he walked off in the middle of it. And then they look at each other and they go, oh, we're doing it again. We promised not to do it. We faithfully promised not to
do it several times in the movie that they
very funny, and that's what makes
launch into that. And
yeah. So they make do with what is there. This Bunter is very practical. He can make anything out of anything. He actually cooked the meal as well. He produced it somehow. This can do anything, a Bunter.
Yeah.
And the banter. We have Bunter and banter. The banter between them, just the text that they have. They given each other a little talisman to show that they would not be going sleuthing, and he lost it, so they're trying to find it again, and they did under the table. It's really cute. I like them. They're so cute together. Look at that.
What often happens with these plays that get turned into films is that what you're left with is still a one location story, what they call a bottle episode. And as long as you can get with your cameras and the vistas and stuff, you get around the location a little bit, that shouldn't hold you up. It doesn't hold you up in this movie at all. It works.
Yeah. And so the next morning comes, and Bunter gets all the things done that the previous house owner should have gotten done, because they do have all the papers, they have the place, it is theirs, they can do whatever. So Bunter gets on with it. He gets the locals in to do the chimney, and so the chimney guy is the one that was also in the church singing, and the guy who's doing this with the hats is the guy with the cap earlier, so our not very nice lover boy. But he's a local person who does gardening work, so Bunter gets him in. So everybody, this is a very small community basically, and everybody knows everybody. They got in a summer dress. Look, a summer dress, a lovely summer dress. Enjoy it. It's not going to last very long. Kirk comes in as well, because you have to, you cannot have an English village without a vicar. It is impossible. You should have a busybody, a vicar, housekeeper type, a bar and a barmaid. Well, the barmaid is optional, but the bar you should definitely have. A pub, basically. It's a pub kind of bar. So they have a lovely garden. The British love their gardens, sometimes even more. They're gonna not even bother with the inside of a house and make the garden look wonderful because they just love them.
Yeah, it's filmed in Denham Film Studios. There's a lot of it didn't film for very long. 35, that was still during construction, through 52. So that it wasn't. I take it that Pinewood Studios took over from after that. It doesn't say. Like the Hamlet, Laurence Olivier was done there. Great Expectations, Brief Encounter, Treasure Island, big name films, which is all in the later days all in the 50s, early 50s.
Yeah, in the early 50s, some American money went the way of Britain, and they could do more lavish productions.
Well, it could have started with Laurence Olivier's Henry V and Hamlet.
He was the one who brought some of the money to England, from the Hollywood money. But it's the British film industry, from the start of film industry to about the 1950s, was just one or two a year. They didn't have any money. So this film, because the star is an American, that's where your money comes in. That's where you have production. It's very clear. But because the thing is filmed locally, they get everybody else in who is local. And but even the leading lady is has English roots, but is also American. So
but the rest of the cast, as far as I remember, is all British.
Yeah,
and does lend that particular real Britishness to the whole thing, which is probably only really recognized by people from Britain and from the particular areas, because for the rest of the world it's probably like, oh yeah, we're good, it's all good, it's good, sounds good.
Another British thing that is, and we skipped it, but I skipped it deliberately, is this film is called Busman's Holiday, and it is the
honeymoon.
Excuse me, honeymoon. The American title is Haunted Honeymoon because Busman's Holiday, the expression is Busman's Holiday. They changed it for honeymoon because I'm going to explain. Busman's Holiday is a British saying for a person who does go on a holiday, but basically ends up like the busman. The busman goes on holiday. They have to get a replacement in. This replacement doesn't know the route. So what does the busman do? Sits next to the new chauffeur on the bus and appoints him. That's his holiday. He doesn't actually have to drive himself. He just points it out. Or a postman holiday, same thing. He walks with the other postman because he doesn't know the route, but he doesn't have to carry the heavy bag. And that's what a busman's holiday is. So basically, you were supposed to be on holiday, but you're still doing roughly what you were doing. And that's what this point is, because right at this moment, in this shot, he's being told, there is a dead guy in your basement. And it looks like murder. That to get away from being detectives or around dead bodies, or because Lord Peter Wimsey is famous for solving crimes, and Harriet Vane is famous for being a crime writer, and
about murder mysteries. Yes,
murder crime writer. And they want to go on honeymoon, and it's a busman's honeymoon. There you go.
And they valiantly try to not turn it into one.
Yeah, and from this point on, even though there's this is the police, the local Bobby, the little bit higher local Bobby, they try to valiantly not get involved, and you know, so all the local suspects. That's the coroner, or the English version of the coroner. They're going to be an inquest, and in British things, there's always an inquest. There's going to be a investigation. The Bobby is going to be asking questions, and then it turns out the Bobby was also showed up that night. So now that
yes, which we saw in that first scene, he's actually trying to get out from under something that the house owner has him. Has him under. The Bobby is Constable Tom Sellen, and the inspector, that's not the inspector we expected him to be, but it is Inspector Andrew Kirk. So you've got Inspector Kirk and Constable Sellen.
Yeah, and later on the other are not Peter Wimsey, but should have been Peter Wimsey guy also shows up. But first they're going to try and get away. There you go.
Try, but they can't because they're now part of an investigation. So no.
Yep, they're being told they are part of the investigation and they're not going anywhere.
And it's almost like people who are addicted to something trying to literally get away from the
absolutely
the source of the addiction. But
you have your withdrawal symptoms here. Look at them faces. Look at them faces. And they can't not. So they start sleuthing. because they can't not. And in like 5 minutes they get more information than the local police, of course. Duh. Inquests. This is something that they do in England. I don't think they do them in. I don't know if they do them anymore, but they used to do them in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. When a death has occurred, that's not in a hospital, they hold an inquest, figure out what's going on, and then there's a conclusion. Which in this case, the conclusion is foul play, possibly actual murder. So their brief here is to figure out what who died, why how died, why died, and is it an accident or disease, or is it something nefarious? And the conclusion, I believe, is something nefarious. Yes.
Mm.
So everybody has to show up for this, but now they can leave because they only had to stay for the inquest. That's all they are legally obliged to do: stay for the inquest, and then, unless they're actually under suspicion, they can leave Dodge. Well, what's his name doesn't like them leaving Dodge, but
Yeah.
I don't have a good picture. I'll put in a good picture of her outfit. She the few chances that she has a lovely outfit on, she does have a lovely outfit on, and they're like catalog worthy outfits.
And they should be, because she's now a lord's wife, and she should have gotten herself a good set of clothes for the season, for the year.
We can actually give our conclusions about the movie. Did we like it? Worth seeing?
Yeah, because we don't want to show the ending, right? Yeah. Yes, I think it's worth seeing. Even if you have never seen or read or known about Lord Peter Wimsey and Harriet Vane, or just Lord Peter Wimsey as a mystery, all the mysteries he did as a single guy, it's just very entertaining.
It's a good
It's
movie.
good banter. She's kick-ass. One of the biggest selling points with Harriet Vane. I think that's why people love the Harriet Vane books. Of the whole series of Lord Peter Wimsey books, it has a special place because she kicks ass. She's absolutely not a wimp. She's not a dependent woman. She is not a girl. She's not all of the things that are the stereotypical depiction of women. She isn't. She has an enormous brain in her head. She uses it every day. She writes mystery novels that are so surprising that it landed her in court. Yeah, and also I watched the entire set of the 1980s BBC version of Lord Peter Wimsey with Harriet Vane. They did 3 out of 4 books. They didn't do this book. And the thing with that is,
maybe they didn't do this book because this film already exists.
Yeah, the movie rights or the film rights had this. This is the reason. But at any rate, yeah, she herself is very interesting. He is interesting because he doesn't need to be anything that anybody tells him that he is. He's a gentleman, and he's of his time, but further than that, he is actually very progressive, and he thinks with his heart as well as his head. So there's just endless selling points. Of course, it's all written by women. A woman. A lot of the best mystery writers have been women. Especially in the English, the British English language. So yeah, no, go watch.
Yeah, and what I like about the whole Harriet Vane and Lord Peter Wimsey combo, and they put it in here very well, is that they are different, but and there's an equality there, which which is what you need for being a twosome, and it's very very easygoing and very natural. It's not in any way forced or somebody's lying or anything like that. It comes from both of them, and they're both very sincere about it. And they put that in this movie, and yeah, that is what that makes it lovely to watch. So yeah, I like this one too.
Yeah. So is that our opinion?
And we're sticking to it.
Yeah.